Hello, my friends. How are you? Hi, my name is Natasha, and I am so excited to be chatting with you today. So today is home day, and we've made it. We made it through half the week. I am so excited because, as I've said on here, like the last few days, like I have been so just discombobulated the past couple weeks. Like I'm working on these odd small projects and things that are like not in my normal routine, and like they've taken an enormous amount of like mental and physical energy and thought, and it's been exciting. And actually, like I was thinking, like I am just very grateful. Like to me, yes, the end goal would be wonderful, but like just being a part of the process, like I'm like, this is actually really cool because I have things and I have learned things that I would not had I not been a part of this experience. And first and foremost, like for me as a person who really like grasps and understands like examples, so to have this like example of my kids of saying, hey, look, it doesn't matter your age, your anything, like go out there and keep trying to shoot your shot. Like try to get whatever it is you want in life. And so, that's been super, super like fulfilling, and just being a part of it. Like I feel like I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about like systems, and so that's like really cool. But it is nice to like unwind back down and get back to my baseline. Like my room had been, like I said, a teenage girl nightmare. My daughter was like, she's like, this literally looks like a teenage bedroom. I'm like, I know it does. Like it's got blinky cops everywhere. It had pink clothes everywhere, and not the brand but the actual like color in every version, just and bright colors. And so it was very vibrant. She's like, it's cute though, like, but on the same turn it was just like blah, and I don't deal well in the blah, and I want to like put it all away and get it all organized and not just half butt it. I want to get it to where it is like back into my flow zone. So like this morning I didn't, like, just in that attempt to get right back into my schedules, I did an extra long meditation, and I was like, yes. But I had been struggling with like my sciatic kind of like flared up, and I think what happens is like I overstretch, and which feels great in the moment, but like I have those non-cancerous tumors in my back, and then I think it like moves them because like now there's more space, right? Like the muscle has elongated, there's more room, and so I think it moves those tumors a bit, like from where they're sitting, and then it pushes like pressure onto a nerve. And I I was hurting in class yesterday. I was like, I like, so much so that like I said, I decided to not go to the second class because I was like, I cannot sit in a car for an hour plus go dance, like, and it's a lot of jumping and things like that. I was like, I'm not like, that is irresponsible right now. I need to listen to my body as much as my brain is like, yeah, you can go. So grateful for the decision, so grateful for the choice. And like today I was like struggling still when I woke up, and I was like, but I still just like slowly got through myself. I didn't do any of my running early. I was like, I'm just gonna maximize the time in which my body has to heal. So it was a lot of like hanging up clothes and everything. And then of course I always get like sidetracked. I ended up going into my son's room, like a long story, whatever. But he always has his dang clothes on the floor, and he's out of town. And I was like, the next time he goes out of town, I'm just going to hang these clothes right here. Clearly he hasn't worn these ones. Like they are literally clean and smell perfectly clean, but they're just thrown on the ground. And I was like, I know this is enabling, but I am like, I don't care. I just don't want to see it on the ground anymore. And hopefully like he'll be inspired when he comes home to like, just keep it up with the little bit that you have, that you're going to come home with, and just hang it back up. So, I did that. So that took me like 15 minutes. I'm like, this thing has irritated me for more than 15 minutes. And I know, like, I like, it's his room, his space or whatever. But I was like, I just can't. I can't anymore. And so I ended up doing his, and then again, like went through my stuff. And I feel like ever since my trip to, like in that week, I don't know, the couple weeks before, like, it's just been projects and things. So I'm happy to finally be like back on my track. And that for me is having clean, like, how do you guys stay organized when you have like so many things going on? Like, I feel like I need a personal assistant to be like, I need to delegate this and this and this and this. And like, I overbuy stuff and then I need to return it because I'm like, I don't need this, and or I don't want it, or it doesn't come the way you want it. And so I don't know, I just like create more work for myself sometimes. But again, super excited for this weekend. There's no lunches, there's no vacations, there's no any plans besides I am just gonna grind it out. I will have both of my oldest kids gone in LA. My other two will be here. I believe there's a couple soccer games. I may or may not even go to all of them. Like, if they're in town, fabulous. If they're out, I may not go. Like, I may be like, I'm peacing out. I need to get my stuff done and organized so I can hit that grind next week and just be like in peace again. Like, I am so big on my calendar. I don't think I've even done it for 2 weeks. I'm like, where the heck is my calendar? Like, I am discombobulated. So I feel like this sense of like relief, just being able to like not feel like I'm in a teenage girl's bedroom anymore. And it's like, it's peaceful. And look at these beauties. Like, they're just so like, so spring. Look at this. I love these. Oh my gosh. And then these little guys like just dancing. Love, 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 love. Isn't this beautiful? Oh my gosh. Yes. So pink, so pretty. Goes with all the pink clothes all over the room. I should have the light on pink today, right? Hey, Echo, turn strip pink. Let's go pink.
I'm having trouble hearing.
See?
Can you say that
Forget
again?
Forget it. But anyways, I am so excited about all that. Like, had a great day as far as like feeling accomplished and getting stuff done and just really like getting back into my visions and stuff like that. And so, just a lot of fun stuff happening right now in my life. Like, I again, like, no matter how crazy and chaotic it is, I just love it. Like, my daughter and
Superman walks into a
Echo
restaurant.
off. This thing, I swear, these like device things are like teenagers. They like listen when they want to, they don't listen when they want to. Like seriously, they frustrate me, but then they also are very helpful to be like, hey, you turn on this or whatever. So those are one of those things that I inherited from my uncle. He was a big advocate for it because he was like pretty much like not totally bedridden, but he spent a good amount of time in bed just because only a percentage of his heart was working, a small percentage. And, he just didn't like, getting up and moving around put a lot of stress onto his cardiovascular system. In addition, after he had the stroke, one of his legs didn't fully work, like he could move and stuff like that, but it didn't completely, like it was stuck, like kind of bent. So I don't know if it was like anything, and he didn't want to go to PT, he didn't want to go to a doctor's and have anything else done with it. So it was just kind of something he lived with. But like, he loved using these devices because it was like, now he could turn on lights and turn on his TV and do all these other things, listen to music, listen to podcasts. So like, for that, like these devices were absolutely amazing and critical for him, made him feel like he was like a cyborg, I think he called it. I don't know. I'm not like into science fiction and stuff like that. Maybe somebody who knows what it's called, but I think that's what he called it, because it was like this like robotic extension of him. And he really loved playing with it and like giving feedback to the engineers because he was a software programmer himself. And so, he had a good time and a terrible time with them. But like they went from infancy and now they're definitely in their teenage era right now, in my opinion, at least with my experience with them. But I mean, they're cool because you can listen to music, ask it questions. How do I spell this? I'm not a phenomenal speller, so I utilize that function a lot. And like the lights and stuff like that. So, today was fortunate enough. Again, it was like one of those days that I'm like, hey, this is going to be my first day home alone. And, like for a full day. And it was so funny because I was like, I am so excited right now. Like, I had told my kids before bed last night, I was like, do not text me. Do not come in my room. Do not touch me. My body wants to sleep in. It has not slept in I can't remember the last time I slept in. I really need to sleep in. And I want my body to just wake up when it wants to wake up. If it wakes up at 5, okay, cool. If it wakes up at 6, cool. If it wakes up at 10, okay, cool. Like whatever it was. And all of a sudden it's like 7:50 or something. And I just start hearing these like scratches and rubbing on the wall. I'm like, what in the hell? It's like spring now, right? Happy spring. And I keep hearing these noises and I'm like, what the heck? Is there like a squirrel in the vents? Like, I'm like trying to figure out, what is this? what's going on? I'm texting Chris, like, do you hear this noise? Like, do you hear what this is? It's like a rub and then, like this. And I was like, what in the heck is it? And, I keep hearing it. And then I finally get up and I go to the bathroom and then I'm like, try to go like to see. And then he was like, hey, I'm in here. I'm like, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, these lights, my son has these TikTok lights in his room and I guess the lights had fallen down. And so he was like reapplying them and retaping them and everything in the morning. He didn't realize it was going to wake me up, obviously, but I was like, it was like the one day I could sleep. I can't sleep in tomorrow. I can't sleep in Friday. I can't sleep in on Saturday. I can't sleep on Sunday. I maybe can sleep in on, it was just, but then I was like, it wasn't intentional. It is what it is. I got up and I was, continued with my day or whatever at that point. But I, for a minute, I was like, I just wanted to sleep in. But then I was like, it's okay. Like, I know it wasn't intentional or anything. But when you have your hopes up for something and then it doesn't come through. So that's okay. Life happens. Like, it's no biggie. I get to enjoy a little more of life other than sleeping it away. So that's how my day had started. And then, my daughter was here and, she was doing her work and her boyfriend was doing her work and he was so sweet. He like literally cooked me lunch and the boys after school, like he made us all quesadillas. I was like, well, that was so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Like I cut up all the fruit and made like a little fruit salad, but I was like, that was so nice. Like he is just the sweetest kid ever, like that. Very considerate. He had already eaten, but he made us all these very good quesadillas. And so thank you for that, because it was so nice, and it was nice to not have to worry about cooking and spending all this time doing that. I can continue doing my work and stuff, and then had to go to the gym and things like that. So, and then again, like I just today after the gym ended up just chatting with one of the ladies, and my daughter was funny because she like pointed out, she's like, you just talk to so many people and then it's not even that, like you like recall all this information, like you're like this person's daughter, son, cousin's brother, and you remember their names and you remember this, and she's like, and then like we were laughing about it. And then later on, we were talking about a story about something, and I was like, yeah, but then, when Dylan was on the plane and when we were running, and they've already heard this story, but I'm telling the story again for whatever silly reason. And, because I was saying how expensive the flight, his flight home was. It was a direct flight from Austin, and I didn't want him to have to like change flights or whatever. So it was like, I think $597, something like that. And I was like so annoyed because like they decided, like they told the passengers like, oh, we're, the other plane that's, there's a connecting plane and some people are on there that are supposed to be on this plane, but their plane is delayed. So we're going to just delay this flight. And because there isn't another later one, and then they would be stuck in the airport. We don't want to do that to them either. So we're just going to delay. And I was like, okay, but I was like, you spent so much money, and then he had literally sat in the airport for like 2 hours, that it's a big deal, but like in the scheme of life, and they're like, you would want it to wait for you too, and again, like good karma, because the other plane did wait for him, so it's like, it is what it is. But like I was talking about how expensive it was, and then we were talking about, we knew this person on the plane, and he knew this person, and this person. And my daughter's like, here we go again. You and the whole lineage of who the heck is on the plane. Like, how do you know all this information and data? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I was like, but I had to laugh because I was like, it's so true. Because I'm like, oh yeah, and this kid that was on the plane, he used to play with Dylan before he hurt himself, and they were on the same team. And they were both Dylan's. They were both playing on the same side, and then he ended up winning like, I think MVP for the entire league and like best offensive player in the league and all this stuff. And my daughter's like, you see, here you go. How do you know all this stuff? Like, this is, I was like, I don't know. It's just a blessing and a curse. I was like, but yet I don't know who sings songs like that. Like that skips my mind for whatever reason. I'm like, I like this song, but I don't know who it is. Like, I mean, it has to like really be obvious, like Beyonce or something. And I'm like, or Taylor Swift. And I'm like, oh, that's them. But like, if it's not a clue, no clue at all what it is, who it is. So yeah, that's just my own little, now if you don't know, now you know. So if you talk to me and I talk to you, and I will log your information, I will ask, and that's what they're saying. They're like, you just ask so many questions too of people, like, you have no there's no inhibition, like you'll just ask the questions and then it logs in. But yeah, so I was talking to a friend in the gym today, and she had actually told and educated me about this newer thing in regards to like women and PMSing. It was like, and I can't remember what, I'm gonna look it up, but it was like PMSD or something like that. And it was like almost like this depression. It's like a very long like PMS experience. And I was like, wow, I never even knew this existed. And it's like a newer, like not newer, but like kind of like newer recognized thing. So it's like only been since like 2012 that it was like established. There's a lot of studies in the UK, but there isn't a lot of studies here in the United States. And like a lot of the doctors don't know it because there's not a lot of doctors that are still continuing their education. They're like, oh no, we know, like, just take this, just do this, like. And then also there's just like a lot of males that just don't, like, they know as best as they can, just as much as like I'm a female. I don't know what the male, like I can empathize, like sympathize, but I can't empathize. Like I don't know. I can guess, I can be like maybe, so I think, it's really challenging when you're a woman, trying to imagine what it is like being in a male's body, and when you're a male, in a woman's body, like you don't experience it, so you don't really know. And sometimes like even we like I was saying, I was like, for so long, I mean, it took me years and years. Like, I feel like it was just recently that I even made the connections that, like, we were talking about like that PMS, like that period before your period, like, it is so brutal, right? Like, it is just brutal because it's like, I mean, when I was young, it was like intense, like cramps. Like, I thought I was dying, like so bad. Like, it prepared me for childbirth so well. I was like, honestly, this is like having period cramps, but they actually stop. Like, where my period cramps just never stopped. It was just like, I was doing all the Midol, I was doing heating pads, I was taking Tylenol, Advil, all of everything I could think. I remember taking like 6 Advil. And like I said, I have a high pain tolerance. And this stuff, when it touched those cramps, I thought I was dying. But honestly, they were so bad that like like once I had contractions, I'm like, oh my God, like this was straight up my cramps. But after I had that first kid, I never had cramps again, ever, like ever, ever, ever. But I still have a lot of PMS, like, and as far as like the mood swings, the like just that irritability, like I am much better now. But like I would warn people, I'd be like, listen, this is the week before. Like, don't worry about when the period is. Because, like, the kids and Chris would have this misconception, like, it's, oh, the period. No, I'm like, by the time that comes, I'm done. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm back on board. Like, it's annoying, right? Dealing with the actual period itself. It's just annoying. It's just a nuisance, right? It's something you have to worry about and think about every couple hours and, make sure everything is clean and good, So, yeah, like, that part is a nuisance. But and the minute it hits, it's like, oh, I'm back to myself again, But that before period, it's like you're just ravenous. I mean, for me, I don't know what your experience is. I'm just ravenous. I don't cry I mean, all right. Okay, I can't even say that here, but like, crying isn't my go-to, but all of a sudden I'm crying, or, like, and it's much more balanced now that I don't know if it's the intermittent fasting. I don't know if it's my healing work. I don't know. I can't contribute it to like one particular thing. I'm not on any hormone replacements. I'm not on any birth controls. I'm not on any of that kind of stuff at all. I just, now I think the awareness like gives me permission to be like, this is my experience right now, and then I can articulate it to other people, so I'm not just in this frustrated mood and everything. Like, I will warn, like, before I used to, and now I don't need to as much, but I'd be like, listen, I am PMSing. This is the time. Like, this is not the time to, if mom asks you to do the dishes, this isn't the time to be like, okay, and then not do it. Like, this is the time that it's just like, just stay off my radar, please. For all of our sakes, for your sake, for my sake, like, I'm giving you the warning, like, this is happening. And I remember, like, one of Dylan, he's so smart. Like, he's just he has a very unique smart. you know, my kids, they got into great schools. It's not because they're rocket scientists. I'm not going to say that. They have a broad, you know, intelligence. It's not like they aren't very good at physics or anything. It's just a very broad form. And obviously they're very clear on what they like, their leadership, their, you know, whatever it is their passions are, they are very good with those. So anyways, I just remember he was little, and one day we were driving at night and he looks out the window and he's like, oh, Mom. And he's just so honest, like, right. It wasn't meant to like hurt my feelings. It wasn't anything, but it was a real eye opener. He was like, Mom, there's a full moon and you're happy. And I was like taken aback. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, whenever the full moon comes, you're always like cranky and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I go back and look and I was like, yes, yes, yes. And well, it was like one of those phases where like my cycle was off. And so I wasn't linked up with the full moon at that time. And I was like, oh my God, like this kid would see the full moon rising and he like, danger, Watson, just danger. Like he knew as a young kid, like he recognized this pattern. Like I said, he almost failed out of kindergarten because like his pattern, like making was so different that like his kindergarten teacher was like, I don't know, he just doesn't get it. And like we were sitting there in the student conference and I was like, oh my God, this third kid, what am I going to do? Like he's going to fail, you know, like what's going to happen? And then she's watch this. And she's like, hey, Dylan, come over here. Cause you know, like you would have the conference, but they would be over off playing with the Legos and the blocks in another section. And she ended up coming over. She threw out a whole array of farm animals. And she's like, watch this. And she was like, hey, Dylan, can you sort these for me? And he was like, yeah. And so he sits there for a minute and he's looking at it and he starts sorting. And she looks at me and I look at her and I'm like, oh man, this ain't right. Like, this is not right. This is wrong. And she's looking at me like very concerned. And I was like, oh man, he wasn't even young. He actually, like by one day, he made it to where he could have went to school a whole year earlier. But I was like, no, I've been in that kindergarten class with those babies. No, thank you. I will keep him home with me for one more year versus sending him off in this world. So anyways, he sorts it and it looks a hot mess. Like there is nothing I could grasp on to say like this, what's the vision here? And so then she thankfully asked him, she was like, Dylan, how are you sorting these? And I can't remember how he sorted it, but it was something so obscure, but he was right. You know, most kids had sorted them by color. Most kids had sorted them by how many legs they had, like something very obvious, but he had sorted them consistently by this obscure method. Like these ones can reproduce. I mean, it was something very, I don't know what it was. I don't remember. I'm just saying reproduce because we were talking about periods. But it was something, and she was like, I have been a teacher for over 20 years teaching kindergarten. I have never once seen a student sort in this manner. She's like, there is something special about him. She's like, at first I thought he was failing, but obviously we were all failing him. He knew something. So he's always had this ability to find patterns in things. And I think that's part of where his success is in life. Even when he was little, like he would do a puzzle and then literally flip the puzzle over. So there was no photo. And then he would do the picture, the puzzles. And I was like, what a trip. So it'd be just like the brown cardboard, loved puzzles, loved putting things together. Like, you know, when he was little, like he would all of a sudden be like, I mean, little, like, he's like, it's 1,000. I'm like, what are you talking about 1,000? Like, first off, you're only counting to like 2, you know, like you are little. And he's like, 1,000. And we're like, what? And you look at the clock, it was 10 o'clock. And he would be like 1,000. Like he knew this. Like he would ask us, like when he was little, like, can you just write out math problems for me? That was like his entertainment. I'm like, okay. I was like, I don't even know the answer to some of these questions. I'm not a mathematician. I don't even like math. Like I still get it messed up, you know, even with a calculator, sometimes I get it messed up. But, he is just super smart and stuff, and I don't know what the heck the point of all that was, but oh, the patterns. So he noticed the moon patterns of his mother, and it's that before thing where it's like I'm ravenous, like there's no sense of satisfaction as far as like the food, like I don't feel satisfied. I feel like I wake up hungry and go to sleep hungry. There's also like just the irritability, right? Like I just feel like in my soul, like I'm just like, oh, like how I used to feel all the time with the blood pressure. Like I just feel like it's just on edge. And yeah, then it's just a very overwhelming feeling. And like even though like it happens every month, every 28 days or whatever, it's still like it takes me off guard. Like I forget about it. I don't know if I have short-term memory loss, and then they were talking about that too. Like how do we forget? Like it's not that many days, it's gonna come again, and we're gonna have this experience. So why does it take like a few days to be like, that's why I was feeling that way? And then I also like my last telltale sign is like fanatically start cleaning. Like I just cannot take the clutter and disarray in my life. I'm like, this has got to go, this got to get clean. And I will always do like a roof to seal floor cleaning. Like I am scrubbing, cleaning, doing all these things. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like clean and ready for the, passing of an egg. So yeah. How do you cope with like the PMS? Like, do you know? And then just hearing how little research and how little information there is. And I think that there's like, so many changes in the women's biology, based on age bearing a year, like childbearing years. Like, and a lot of people are opting to have children's later in life. I mean, like my son's, see here, I'm going to go again with my lineage information. My son's girlfriend's aunt is in her 40s and she's having her second kid. Like, bless her heart. Like, any of you out there that are doing it at this age, like, I have so much admiration for you, because like when I play with my niece and then I go, like, I'm tired and I'm in better shape than I've ever been in my entire life combined. And I'm like, I'm tired. It's just a different, like, I need my sleep. I need my, when it's interrupted and stuff, like, it is as a struggle bus for me. So blessings to anybody who is out there having kids, older. And I mean, there's some great things, right? Like, I am so much wiser. Some things just, I'm like, literally, it doesn't matter. Like, whereas it really mattered when I was 20, because I just didn't know any better. Like, it just, so you have a different wisdom, you have a different perspective. You're probably a lot more financially set, which definitely we were not. It's been a financial struggle through and through, the whole way through. We've just managed to be able to like do the best we can, and we've gotten by to this point. And so very grateful for that. But yeah, definitely a challenge. And I just feel like, there's all these implications, plus, the impact of having birth control. And like, and it's funny because my daughter and I were talking about like how big pharma and everything like that, and like how, the men don't want to take birth control, and so the women are the ones that take it. Like it is just, like the women have such a burden to bear. Like, and I was talking to my other friend in the gym yesterday, and she was a philosophy professor many years ago, and she was the only female faculty member in the philosophy department. She was not allowed to speak to them. Like, it was told, you are not allowed to talk about salary with your coworkers. Just, I was like, wow, like what a pioneer you were, and it was like, like some of the men didn't feel comfortable taking her class, while others were gawking at her out of their window. And, she was a little hot tamale. So I can imagine, because I've seen photos of her when she was younger, and she still is very much a hot tamale. And she's still out there dancing and doing her thing. And she's an artist, and she has beautiful paintings. Like, her home is like an art gallery. But it's so difficult to be a woman sometimes, and I forget that because I've grown up with such like a masculine energy. I've always been around males. I'm very comfortable around males because of that. But I also now am like embracing the femininity and like, you know, embracing all the female energy that's around me and their strength and their creativity and things. So, you know, I just feel like it's such an interesting conversation lately in regards to the women's health. And, you know, when I went to my doctor, I was like, okay, so like, is there a test to tell me if I'm in perimenopause? Like, I don't know. I've been on my period since I was 11. And besides, like, you know, after my pregnancy, which again, I was so uninformed. Like when I had to deliver my placenta, they were like, okay, push. And I was like, oh my God, am I having twins? And I was dead serious. They were dying, but they couldn't like really laugh because I just delivered an extremely premature baby for the 90s. And he was very sick and very small. And, you know, so it was a pretty intense room, but they were like, you know, like it definitely broke the tension in the room. And they're like, no, sweetie, like this is your, your placenta. And I was like, I don't even really know what that is. So, okay, whatever. And then I remember too, like when they told me I was dilated to 8 centimeters with him, like I was like, no, like I didn't do my Lamaze class. And my Lamaze class starts January 5th. I'm already signed up, but no, I can't do this without. They're like, honey, you're about to get a crash course. You already threw the heck of it, but yeah, you're not making it to that Lamaze class. Just, you can cancel that. I wonder if I ever did, because I probably just paid for a dang Lamaze class I never used. And at that point I was like, I don't need it with my daughter. And I probably did need it. That was a brutal birth, but yeah, so, you know, like, it's just tough to be a woman, but it's also so beautiful, right? Like, we are goddesses here and we can create life. And, you know, like I say, yeah, my stomach is not in a prime Sports Illustrated model condition. It has battle wounds on it, let's just say that. And you know, it's not as firm as, you know, one would have loved it, and I don't think mine ever truly was, even at the youngest of ages. So, you know, I'm not trying to think of I'm going to get something that I never had in the first place. It is what it is. But so it is a badge of honor. Like, this thing housed 4 people that are pretty remarkable. So, you know, if this is the scar I bear, then that's okay. I'm okay with that. But it is definitely a beautiful and challenging thing to be a woman. But I'm so grateful for all the women who have come before me, which is why, like, for me, something like voting is so important, because I know how important it was to so many women, and that the strides that they went through to allow me, a future generation, somebody they would never meet, this opportunity to do it. So if I don't vote, I always feel like, I mean, I always do vote, but like if I didn't vote, I feel like, and even though people are like, oh, it doesn't really matter, your vote doesn't count, da, da, da. I actually just saw this thing, and it was like, granted the votes weren't finalized, but it was by 2 votes. Like, that was what separated these 2 candidates, literally 2 votes. So I was like, in this case, your vote really does matter. But it matters for all those women that suffered for me to be able to have this right. It matters so that, like, my grandkids and my, you know, future great grandkids, shall I be lucky enough to have, they have those rights, and we continue to maintain those rights. And so I feel it's a privilege, and I love the ability to do it, even if I don't always understand all of the, you know, what they're saying or what it is. And I'm sitting there trying to read it and trying to read through the you know, all this stuff. So, you know, I'm so proud of women and how far we've come. And I'm so glad I am a woman to have all the wonderful thoughts and experiences, even if it comes with having a stinking period, you know, which again, I'm on borrowed time here. I started when I was 11, I'm 47. So I've been doing this thing for 36 years. Like, I don't know how many more eggs I got in me, kids. Like, it's probably not very long, I would assume. And so I just hope that, you know, the menopausal gods are kind to me, and don't take it too hard on me. Come on now, like, let's go easy. And I don't know, like, even what happens, because I don't want to know. Like, I'm just like, I will deal with whatever the repercussions of it. Like, I don't want to give my body or mind any ideas like, oh, this potentially can happen and this can. So, but for right now, I'm still like a clock. Every 28 days is arriving here, like, hey there, I'm back. So TMI, yeah, but you know, like, how, you know, I want to hear about your situation with it. So anyways, it is now time for me to go, but I just really want to say I appreciate you. I love that you're here listening to me and babble on about PMS and my experience here, and I hope yours is better than mine. I know some people are so lucky and they have a very easy thing, and blessings to you. Like, you rock that. And I know that some people have it even more challenging than I do, like my friend who, you know, informed me about this, like, PMS depression, like, and hers is very, like, more mine's like, you know, 4, 5, 6 days. Like, hers is like 15 days of having this experience. And like, that's crazy, you know, like, and then as soon as the period comes, she feels like a person, but like it's a 15-day cycle for her. And I was like, wow, that's like half of your life, you know, that is now being challenged in this way, and there isn't a solution as of yet. Like, but the education is key, right? Because the awareness helps us to say, I know what's happening, and then we can kind of alter. Like, when we don't realize what's happening in our body, like, we're just kind of in reactionary mode instead of proaction mode. And so I hope for her that through this, that she's part of the like research, and that she's part of the education, and it helps her, but it also helps all the future generations that will be affected by this. And again, it could be environmental, the medicines we're taking, the COVID shots we're getting, like all these things that we're doing to our bodies. I'm sure it has an impact on us. So I say all that to say, thank you so much. I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate you listening. And if you could just do me one huge favor today, please go out there, give somebody a smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. So thank you so much. Bye.